Hey, ladies and gentlemen out there that are watching this on LinkedIn Live. We're live on 3 streams today. And every Monday, all of you see me show up here in the morning to bring one of our members forward to spotlight them about how they took the leap. So today we're going to be talking with Cheryl Burget, and we're going to learn all about how she was able to take the leap from really looking at defining, who her ideal client is. And when she knew who that ideal client was, then she could pinpoint them everywhere and anywhere to provide herself more opportunity. But that's not always how Cheryl did business. So we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, Cheryl. And by the way, welcome to the show.
Oh, Colleen, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and really kind of share what I did to kind of get more and more clear about who I was to work with. Because both you and I both know when you go off on your own, you launch your business, it's like flying out of the nest. Yeah. And you are really looking to work with anyone who can fog a mirror at the beginning. And what happened for me was I was realizing I was working with people who I cared more about their business than they did. That they weren't really following what I was recommending. And so the results they were getting were not what I'd hoped they would be. And so it was kind of a mishmash. I had some ideal clients, but then I started to kind of weed out the ones that I knew weren't ideal for me. And that is really, I've come up with a serious-driven business owner, right? Serious-driven business owner, meaning that they're willing to take the steps. They know it's not always easy. As you know, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster, right? And especially, and I don't know if it ever gets any better because new level, new devil, right? New level, new devil. So as we grow, it continues to inspire us to get more creative, especially during these last couple of years is, how do we stay relevant? How do we continue to be creative? But the ideal client is part of it is finding out the ideal problem you solve. Like, what problem was I really solving for people? So getting clear on that, it made it easier then to define the ideal client I worked with.
What problem are you solving for the customer? How important is that? Because I love that you said this, because I have talked with so many women, and many know that I've only been an entrepreneur for just over 3 years. I was in corporate America for 30, was very successful in corporate America with being a business coach. And now is really a, business/leadership coach, which I help provide, inspire change and leadership in women. But I started out like, I want to help everybody. And how many women have you met, Cheryl? I just want to help everyone when you ask them what their target market is. And then we realize, well, you can't help everybody. So you need to narrow that down. And this is where I find that that some of the female entrepreneurs that I work with struggle to narrow that actual ideal client, because you can narrow it down to women that you're willing to work with, but to get the optimal results for you and the client, they need to be the ideal client. So name some of those things, Cheryl, in your ideal client. You mentioned someone that is action oriented, right? They want change. They're ready to do the work.
They're ready to do the work. They have a vision. They have a purpose and a why. I find out people that don't have a why, that they're kind of just doing it, I'll say more as a hobby than actually, if you have bills to pay, if you have people that are responsible or looking to you to be responsible for their well-being, then that's pretty motivating. Yeah. And so I also, people that are open-minded, that are willing to understand the big picture of business, that 100% of what you do doesn't work. 100% of what we will try isn't going to work. But what I have realized is I was very successful in corporate, as you were, and I wanted to know, could I translate that to other people so that they could experience success? And Colleen, what I found is that it's the same thing my coach told me. I said, why do people fail with you? And she said, they don't do what we tell them. So all I had to ask myself is, will I do what she tells me? And the answer was, she's making $7 million a year. I'm kind of at start. So yeah, I'll listen. And that's what I have found, is that I've come up with
Mm.
a formula that helps people make money right away and continue to do that. And as long as you can absolutely get clear on the process of who you're talking to, the problem you solve, and as I go back to that again and again, and actually implement the action. It takes action consistently to make
Yes,
it work.
girlfriend. Yes,
Yes.
girlfriend. And I'm all about the manifestation because I feel like the spiritual work we do goes hand in hand with the actions that we take. But if the action is missing, then the success on where you're looking to get is going to be minimal. I want everybody to hear what Cheryl is saying. And Tamara went ahead and put a comment here. Thank you, Tamara, for joining us today. She said, absolutely, a niche is key. This is great
Mhm.
advice to save time. I love that. Save time and match with the right client. To me, it's like, you know this, Cheryl. We've talked about this all the time. We have friends that believe in this. The fastest path to wealth is speed. When we say that, we mean speed of, getting aligned with the right coach. And this is getting aligned as the client with the right coach for you, because
Right.
not all coaches out there are right for you. You need to align with what it is that you need today. I have a speaking coach. I have an intuitive coach. I have a health coach. So I have several coaches that I work with that assist me in the time that I have a need on what I'm looking for. And I'm very clear on who I serve and who I desire to serve. I think that's the difference as well, right? Think of when you started, Cheryl, who you were serving when you started, who you might be serving now, and you look out a year and you're like, my ideal client that I have right now, right? Those superstars that you love, that take action, that are, really innovative and doing the things that, they're not needing you for every decision. They're utilizing you, right, for leverage and inspiration and motivation and strategy. And then those ideal clients you want to duplicate. That becomes the next step for you, because if you want to duplicate that client, you need to start attracting only that client and better.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Right. That is so true. I'm reminded of a story of a client who I have them do metrics. I have them measure their success. And she said, I'm so tired of putting zeros. And I said, well, the answer to that is take action and do something different. Right. And that was a real clear message to me, that not the type of person I want to work with who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take action. I want to see them taking action, and not just here and there. I want consistency of action, and it's in the consistency. And what you said also is being ready, taking action quickly,
Yeah.
because things are changing so fast that if you aren't able to, and we've overused this word, if you're not able to pivot and do something new and figure out where people are talking and how people are talking and where your ideal client is, you're going to lose. So
Yeah.
you have to not be stuck in the fear of doing something, and just do it. And
Ooh, I
do it
love that.
imperfectly. Do it
Yeah.
imperfectly.
Yes.
Um,
It's called start before you're ready. If
yes.
I waited, Cheryl, I know you don't have any children,
Mm-mm.
correct? But I'm a mother, and everyone that knows me, Colleen Biggs, knows that I have 7 kids. And we combined our family. We got married 15 years ago. And if I waited until I was ready, financially ready is as my maturity, I wouldn't start having kids until now, because now I actually feel that financially I'm ready,
Mhm.
a patient wise I'm ready, and knowledge I'm ready. But I had to go through all of that experience as a mother and start before I was ready, because are we really ready? Right? You've got to take the leap. That's what this is all about. You have to know and have faith and desire in yourself to know you're going to land on both feet. And by defining and refining your actual customer. I have a specific customer, from this point moving forward, but really, where I've been manifesting what my future looks like, because I said the spiritual journey is the same. I want to work with successful women leaders. I want to
Yes.
work with the ones that are ready to reach their peak performance. They're ready. They want to lean into that purpose so deeply that they're ready to inspire change in others. They're ready to create unlimited wealth for themselves, and they're ready to leave a legacy. If that's not you desiring to be that female, you're probably not my ideal client.
Right.
Yeah.
And and Colleen, I want to add to that in that there isn't a limited amount of clients. There is more than enough for all of us.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
the manifesting your ideal client, I have a funny quick story, if you don't mind me telling this, that
I
when you
love
get
it.
so clear on who your ideal client is, they show up everywhere. Don't you recognize that?
Yeah.
You'll be in a TSA line, you'll be at jury duty. I actually manifested my ideal client while I was had under anesthesia during a surgery. And I mentioned something about helping the company do something and gave my website address out. Now, that's clear in my subconscious because I don't remember a word of it.
Yeah.
Walk out the door and ended up doing 4 workshops and got paid $2,500 for working with their company. And I did that under anesthesia. So some of you have heard that story, but most people haven't. And so that's how clear you are. Your subconscious is talking for you.
Yeah. And Benita said, Cheryl's great. So you have some fans out there. So glad to
Yay!
see her, here. And Benita, we would love for you to share, why is Cheryl so great? Please share with us a detail about Cheryl in your mind that makes her so great, right? I think defining that with your clients really helps you define, as well as you grow and as we move forward, what our skill sets are that set us apart, Cheryl. Like you said,
Right,
there's so many people out there, but the way you work with a company, the way I would work with a company are completely different, even though we might focus somewhat on the same areas, right? So
right.
very important for each one of you out there to remember that your uniqueness, your why, your
Mhm.
purpose, your knowledge, your skill sets, your experience sets you apart. That's what makes you stand out. It's a choice that we make if we really want to stand out, or if we want to kind of shrink back and hide a little in the shadows. Wouldn't you say, Cheryl? You're not a hider.
No, not typically. Not typically. I'm not a hider. I'm out there and that the way you can tell that is when you walk into a room, people know that you walked into the room, right?
Yeah.
And I have always there's a portion of that that you have to let go of what others think, because when you start to do that and empower yourself to stand for what you believe in and work with and be niched. When you're
Yeah.
niched, you're not cutting off blood supply. You're actually opening up your blood supply because you're getting more clear. And as you, Colleen, I work with several different people, right?
Yeah.
I work with several different coaches for different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with a health coach. I work with a virtual events coach. I work with a business coach. So all of those things and knowing what I need at the time I need it. It may be for a short time, it may be for a long time, it may be just for just a specific project. But realizing I'm not everything. I don't do everything well, and realizing that is so quick.
Yes. I love that you said that, because I work with a speaking coach specifically, because the only thing she does is help people have a very clear message to convert. Clear message to convert. That's all she does. So I'm like, okay, that's who I want to work with right this second. Right. So
Yes.
when she's clear, then I'm clear about my
Right.
results that I'm going to get from working with her. Be clear about the results you want to get from working with a specific coach. And as the coach, be very clear on the specific results you want your client to achieve from what their goals are. And Benita, she went ahead and blessed us with another message, because I had asked her, give me something specific about Cheryl. She said, I've worked with Cheryl and she has a clear strategy that helps you set the foundation for business success. So I love that, because you take what their goals are, what they want to
Mhm.
see, you create a clear, she said, clear strategy for her. So that,
Mhm.
and that's the foundation she stands on. So she knows she's going to have the success that she desires. That's an outcome.
She's had amazing success. She's about tripled her income since we worked together. And
Perfect.
here's what's funny. That was a very polite way of saying, I tell them what to do.
Ah,
Basically, they tell me their problem, I tell them what to do. And when they implement it, I've done this since, for 35 years, I've been in sales, and I've never taken a sales course. It has all been through on the street, like learning. At 16, I was a top salesperson for an Oklahoma Prevention of Child Abuse, raising money for a good cause. So it must be something you believe in
Yeah.
that you're selling. That's so key, that it can help others.
Number
Yes.
one, let me ask any of you as consumers, when do you buy? We know it's an emotional purchase.
Mhm.
When do you buy? You buy when the person has convinced you that you're going to get the outcome that you desire from that product or service, period.
There you
That
go.
that right there, you don't need sales training to be a great salesperson. You know that you said that, I was like, but gosh, when I was 16 or 17, I worked in a call center, and I remember being one of the top people. They don't teach you how to sell in high school. They don't teach you how to sell a thing in high school,
No.
by the way. I learned how to, do a paper route and sell. Back in my day, we used to walk around and ask people if we could mow their lawns for $3. You know what I mean? So we had to enroll. You're always enrolling. You're enrolling your dog to go to the restroom outside and not in your house. I
That's
mean,
right.
are we always enrolling or what,
I can
Cheryl?
imagine you're 24/7 with 7 kids.
Yeah, no, they're
You're
not. They don't live here. We're told. I mean, they have kids, right? I
right,
have 12
right.
grandkids, and they live in their own homes. But I have to enroll my grandkids to eat at the dining room table and not walk around the house with food. We're constantly enrolling and creating it to be a good experience, right? So
Right.
when you enroll, people are cued, as in the Atomic Habits book, to have a craving, and then they know what the outcome is going to be, right? So they
Right.
crave that outcome because it's satisfying. And that goes with food, right? That goes with food. That goes with all the products that are out there. Women buy certain clothes because they're supposed to make you look slimmer. And that's
Yeah.
why we buy it. That's the outcome. So, Cheryl, tell us a little bit about the exact ideal client that you work with. So the women listening will know what that is, to see if they fall into that. Who are these women and men? I mean, if you work with men as well, who are the women and the men that you work with, and why would someone want to work with you as a client?
Okay, that's a great question, Colleen. And you're right. Primarily, my clients are women, but I do have some male clients, and in fact, currently do. And my ideal client is somebody who is in a service-based business, seriously driven entrepreneur, who is growing their business to 6 figures and multi-six figures. And notice I said 6 figures and multi-six figures. I am not for that, $1 million earner. That's not my target market. I have a lifestyle business that I teach others. I feel like if I can't do it first, then I can't teach it. So I know that I want a lifestyle business, which I've created. And I also know that what I transfer to people is, if I can teach them to put sales at the front of their business instead of the back of their business, they can stay in business. And really important that they learn this skill, because it's the most, in my opinion, the most important skill you can learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree with you. So if you're listening and you fall into that category, I've got information for Cheryl up on the screen as well as in the notes. And I know she had something she wanted to give away today. You can find Cheryl at yoursalesgenius.com, at cherylburget.com. And then she has a freebie. What would you like to give away today, Cheryl?
Yeah. So one of the things that I know that most people suffer from is kind of a fear of sales, because they just became an accidental salesperson when they decided to start a business. And so you're not taught it. You're not taught in high school. You're not taught in college, unless you take a specific, really. And so you need to learn this. So I have the 5 tips to overcoming your fear of sales. And it's just cut and dry. What is your fear, and here's how you solve it. What's your fear, and here's how you solve it. And you alluded to one of the things that you do, and it's, you do reps. You do it over and over and over and over and over and over again, just like anything else, and you get better. And you just have a conversation where you sincerely want to serve someone. That's it.
I'm glad
Simple.
you said that, because I don't know any of you out there that think you can go to the gym one time and you're a bodybuilder. It just doesn't work that way, right? No. You get stronger as you do reps. And in that book I was referring to, Cheryl, Atomic Habits, the difference between elite athletes versus regular athletes, which
Yes.
athletes, pretty high. Because if you're an athlete, then you're probably someone that's been working out for a while. But an elite athlete, the gap and the difference between those two are the ones that are comfortable in the mundane of repetition. and they don't stop and then get bored and then go create another business and build that, right? You know, those serial entrepreneurs that just keep building and building and building.
Yes.
To become elite in your field of expertise and your zone of genius, I would say, from the book The Big Leap, you have
I love
to
it.
be comfortable in the mundane of the repetition over and over again, because that's how you get so good at it.
Colleen, that's absolutely it. That's genius. Become bored, just darn right bored with what you're doing because you've done it over and over and over so many times. I love that. And Atomic Habits is a great book. I know that you're starting a book club, right?
I am. Yeah, we're starting it on April 6th. So if you're a member of the Leap community, we welcome you to join our book club, because we do this to help you with personal development, with business development, because these are the things that, our business can only grow to the extent we do. And when we're willing to put in the work for ourselves, then our business is going to flourish. But when we skip that step, and we think we can just work on everything in our business, but we don't really deal with all of the things that are holding us back, or that are fear, like you talked about, the false evidence appearing real and all the stories we create. We've got to work on those. And Cheryl, you're just phenomenal. I love everything about you, how you show up, how you inspire others for change. And I'm excited about all of the women that joined us today. Benita even said, she loves Atomic Habits. She read The Big Leap too. She said she read The Big Leap as part of your business book club. So I think it's amazing that you're educating every single one of your clients to be able to be more, have more, and do more based on your programs that you offer.
Well, I'm going to be on the other side of it and be a participant in your book club, because I think as entrepreneurs and as leaders in our industries that we need to continue to evolve and to learn and stay on top of everything that's going on in the world, because that's our job, to be relevant, to stay relevant, to move as the economy moves, as things change. We need to be flexible to do that as well. So Colleen, you are, it's amazing what you've done in 3 years. I'm so happy that we connected today, and anything that I can do, I'm here. So
thank you, Cheryl. And we'll close with this. And remember, ladies and gentlemen that are watching this, if learning is beyond you, then leadership, or if learning is beneath you, right? Oh, I don't need to learn. I know everything I need to learn. If learning is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. It's, to be a true leader, you need to walk the talk and talk the walk and walk the walk and talk the talk, just like Cheryl's doing in her life, right? She creates and does the lifestyle to then pass that on to other people. And those are the coaches you want to work with, the ones that are truly living the life that you desire. Go jump into in some, like Cheryl's group, and work with her directly. So Cheryl, thank you for being with us today. All of her information is in the chat, y'all. So please go check out her freebie and go find her and get to know her, connect with her. And you can find all of that at CherylBurget.com/salesfear. Thank you, Cheryl, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Colleen, for having me.
You guys have a wonderful week, and don't be afraid to take the leap of your own. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.